Hey everyone! Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 7, which is Understanding and Working with Third Party Data. So, this chapter is going to cover what is digital data ecosystems and third party data, which we know a little bit about from previous chapters. It's going to talk about data lakes and big data, tag management systems and data collection, web analytics maturity models, more extensive conversations on that from the previous chapter, audience analytics with third party data providers, which is panel based, and we'll get into what that means. Additional third party market research tools available for universities and students, and then the introduction to programmatic advertising. So the first, second, and third party data. Again, this is just kind of review, but first party data is collected by issuing the first party cookie to a web browser of a visitor to a website running web analytics software. Most websites issue first party cookies for applications and login information that takes place on their website. So what that's saying is it's placing something, if a website is using web analytics and it wants to tag each person coming into the website, it places what's called a cookie into your computer. And I believe Web Analytics can hold it up to 30 days and then it does more cookies. But that is what's called first party data. Second party data is the first party data collected from a business partner and it's shared with another party. So usually it's an affiliate. For example, many online banking and credit card customers provide first party data that is provided to their business partners and it's in the terms of agreement. You just may not know it. And then third party data is information collected by using a third party cookie that is used to a web browser of a visitor to the website it is issued from. Third party cookies are issued by various services, and many of them are from advertising based that follow online users across the internet and collect behavioral information about their activities. So, why do marketers use third party data? Well, it is really important. Third party data vendors focus on collecting, aggregating, normalizing, and deduplicating and summarizing different sets of consumer data into a usable form for marketers or digital marketers. So data is really, it's getting cleaned up and organized in ways that it is useful for organizations. The caveat is third party data may be organized and segmented in ways that presume a customer or marketer's needs, which may be unsuitable for their particular purpose based on what the marketers and researchers want to use it for. Again, using supplemental data from third party sources can be done in conjunction in reorganizing first party data to work well with third party data being used and vice versa. Third party data has a richer selection of range of consumer and customer data than most organizations that can collect it on their own. Unfortunately, the first party data gathered by organizations via in house databases and web and search analytics are not always organized as well as they should be or could be. Supplementing first party data with third party information is always a tricky proposition that requires careful study to determine what makes sense to do. Third party data is generally not interoperable across third party data providers. So each provider has their own reasons for collecting data. This impacts the context that the format of their product offering is possibly making it incompatible with similar databases offered by alternative providers. Third party data providers want to lock users into their own data products, so they are not motivated to provide interoperable data sets. Most third-party providers are not transparent about how they prepare their data sets. So a lot of them are kind of, and too often, not able to find out the actual sample size of this panel. Just as like a brick wall would require alignment and precision for the dimensions of building a wall, layering data requires the same precision, but the precision cannot be verified with the third-party data sets. Using third-party data sources among each other, but avoiding combination into the data metric it can go either way. Notwithstanding, organizations can end up needing to combine different third-party data feeds because they need to select elements and segments in each that they do not have. So after all, we don't live in a perfect world. Really, third-party data can be beneficial if you know how to use it. But again, it is segmented in different ways. It is put in different sources, and you don't really exactly know where it's coming from. So to the marketers, data has become the new gold. The vast majority of data never gets old. Only 0.5% of all data is ever analyzed, which is reported by MIT Technology. Banks have gold mines of data available to them. However, it's not just about the data they collect, it's about how they mine it, interpret it, and draw insights to provide personal customer experiences, which is deployed across the whole organization. There is so much data available to be mined for insights, and we must first understand what we need to learn or want to know before we can prospect the data, because how the data is acquired shapes the data in general, right? In other words, data is quantum. IMHO, the meaning data has already had a meaning we believe it has. It's very different than what marketers used to. Consequently, working with data should be done with great care. 3 organizations using first, second, and third party data. Capital One. Capital One treats a deal of optimization engines to analyze customer demographics and spending patterns. With this data, they are able to determine when and where to place offers in front of people. This led to an increase in revenue and customer satisfaction. T-Mobile is another one. They reduce customer turnover by 50% by examining their usage patterns and geographical usage trends, customer purchases by location, customer lifetime value. With the massive amounts of T-Mobile data that they've collected on their clients, it was then able to identify the most influential customers and give them extra perks, which goes back to that customer loyalty that we talked about in chapter 6. Starbucks uses location data, street traffic analysis, demographic info, and data culled from other places to decide whether to locate their stores. Armed with the data, Starbucks locations can exist a block away from each other, better serving their audience while remaining profitable. Data collection and tag management systems, or TMS. Web analytic platforms collect the data that appears in reports by tagging pages and URLs of a site with necessary codes, but the accuracy of the captured data ultimately depends upon how the tagging is implemented and updated. If it's not updated, you're probably missing out on this huge chunk of data that you could have been gaining from the last time that you had updated your system. Keeping tagging up to date is difficult, even difficult enough for a site owner. So for large sites, it's impossible to keep your tags up to date without some automation systems, such as content management systems that focus on content changes, or a tag management system, which keeps track of all the tags on a website. By using a tag manager, which Google has, one master tag is used in place of an additional vendor tag. The rest of the vendor tags are stored and updated within a tag manager. Tag managers make it much easier to build and maintain marketing automation and tracking. So some advantages of a tag management system. So there is a lot of data being produced by applications, and the users should be collected for the marketing and the site optimization purposes. Most organizations do not have the time or expertise to manage and update data collection manually. As an alternative, organizations use tag management systems, or TMS, and TMS acts as a data repository to define, store, and update data collection tags on a website or collection of sites. They also manage several tags with expertise in JavaScript. Obviously important. We talked about JavaScript a lot in the last chapter about how even mobile analytics uses JavaScript. So this focuses on engaging with customers instead of being concerned with the conflicts that arise with the IT processes. They also are able to pick the best marketing services solutions and combine them. Google Tag Manager has added templates and supports for AdRoll, Marin, ComScore, Bizzo, ClickTel, Neurostar, Distillery, Turn, Mediaplex, Visual DNA, Quantcast, Critico, and more. Some disadvantages of tag management system. Obviously, privacy, the biggest thing out there right now, right? Privacy issues. TMS systems have access to too much data that is collected on a site. That might be a problem for some businesses that do not want to share some of their aspects of their data with a third party. So intermixing tags from previous deployments no longer functional hampers websites' performance for end users by slowing down page loads. So it makes it a lot slower when you're trying to pull up a web page. While the TMS system simplifies the tag management, they require coding expertise and access to the website administration to utilize them. The last point that is noteworthy is for TMS, they were sold to marketers as a solution to having a code in JavaScript, when in reality, that isn't often the case. In other words, while TMS is great, buyer beware. We will not go through all of this. I just want to point this out. Tag management systems plus the first party, third party, second party that allows marketers to harvest a vast amount of personalized data on individuals that you probably don't even know. So the internet can go through search engines and content, retail sites, social media, geo, medical. They can look at your hospital, doctors, nurses, pharmacy. So go through this and kind of look and see what can be collected based on first, second, and third party data. Advantages of data lakes to storing data. Data lakes are customizable, general purpose of data store where information is saved in its original format. By placing it into a lake, it becomes available for analysis by everyone in the organization. So be careful. The data lake is usually formed with a Hadoop cluster with several nodes that hold all of the information that populates Salesforce, Marketo, and Adobe Analytics. Marketing data is often trapped in applications that collect the data. Data lakes solve this problem by leaving the information intact with auto in an unstructured or minimally structured state, already waiting to be analyzed. The data lake can live in an in-house cloud or a public cloud, depending on what is best suiting the organization and where to house the data. Here's some issues with data lakes. So, little security or access control. It is capturing data that goes into the data lake with no oversight of the content. The security capabilities of data lakes are still very immature. Data quality is often questionable. There is an inability to determine the data quality or annotate the findings by other analytics or users that have found value from the same information in a lake. Without descriptive metadata and a way to maintain it, the data lake risks becoming a data swamp. Obviously, having too much data probably can stun you. There's actually a lot of different articles that I have found that too much data can actually cause marketers to go just as crazy as if you didn't have enough data. Consequently, data is stored in a way that must be able to be cleaned, reliable, and available when it is needed. Updating campaigns and codes are required, and the right team is required to combine the skills, talents, and love for data and problem solving. So ComScore Biometric is core reporting. They look at demographics, the percent of change in media trends, target trending, media trend, audience duplication, source loss, and cross-visiting. Go through these, but these are some metrics in core reporting that ComScore looks at. Definitely go through this list. You may be tested on it in the future. And other third-party data tools that are useful for digital analytics is ABI or Inform Global. They find articles from trade journals and magazines, scholarly journals, and a general interest in magazines covering accounting, advertising, business, company information, industry information, management, marketing, real estate, economics, finance, human resources, and international business. Basically, if you are in the business world or anything related to business, I would check out this data. It is pretty cool and it's free for higher education institutions. Academic OneFile. This is articles from magazines and scholarly journals from a wide range of subjects. Business Monitor Online, which is now called BMI Research. I have used this actually a lot more than I thought. This might be useful to find out about like a particular market in an area. eMarketer, another one I have used several times. It takes data from all over digital marketing world and recharts and organizes it for reference and publication. Some more. Gartner. This is an analysis of an IT market for hardware, software, IT services, semiconductors, and communications. They report on IT issues in 10 industries, including education, banking, retail, healthcare, and manufacturing. Gorio Online is useful for definitions and topics among the building citations. IBIS World, I have used this one as well, reports on 700 industries plus specialized analyst reporting. Canopy might be useful for a source for stock educational videos. American Fact Finder finds out details about demographics in a zip code. And then Business Insight Essentials. This is good for SWOT analysis for companies and perhaps industries. And it also allows keyword search. It provides industry reports that may be useful. Mental academic. This is providing the overall sector of studies and trend analysis. PIVCO is informations of filling and financials of private companies. Simmons One Review, useful for demographic planning. Statsa, you would probably use Statsa and you didn't even know it. So like an e-marketer but has more research and capabilities of numerical data. And Work. This is resources with data for more marketing data trends and projections. Pragmatic advertising. Pragmatic advertising is a technology. Technology is one invention of the digitalization of things. It automates processes, eliminates costs, and allows it to have more time spent on a strategy and analysis of the data. So the buy side versus the sell side of programmatic. This is a very confusing for like buyers and also sellers and vice versa. Buyers' demand side is advertisers are trying to deliver the right message in the front of like the right person at the right time for the best price. So remember, right in front of your face, it has to be the right time for targeting and the right ROI. Sellers on the supply side. Publishers are trying to maximize the money that they can sell advertising space and inventory to advertisers. So why use this type of advertising? Well, modernized technology has changed the way consumers purchase products and services online. Zillions of websites are now not only on the web, but they have a lot of wade through, so no one can and or place advertising on. In the past 25 years, we have developed e-commerce as an ease of buying and selling online. So like Amazon and eBay. Obviously, Amazon's like taking over right now. The development of precision targeting, along with the self-service advertisement like Google AdWords, has turned everything into who wants the digital marketer, whether they realize it or not. And although they have a need to become more sophisticated to take full advantages of what technologies, such as pragmatic offers. Digital and social media platforms have included sophisticated, powerful analytics, and in some cases, customizable attribution models. Pragmatic can be used in most digital advertising. So digital, like graphic ads that appear on the content of web pages like an IM application or email. Video, ads that appear in video during or after the video plays. Mobile, ads that can be used on mobile devices like a cell phone or a tablet. Search ads are placed and ranked on search engines on web pages that show associated results from the searcher's query. And social advertisements produce content that users will share with their social network. And then native is a form of social advertising, but it matches the shape and function of what platform you're on. So it'll look like a TikTok video, or it's going to look like an Instagram photo, or it might look like a tweet, right? It looks very similar to what other users post. This requires a lot more expertise from the marketers to employ the platform effectively. There's a lack of transparency in these ads. They're not creative enough to take advantage of inventory that Pragmatic allows advertisers to run. The cost of an impression can be higher when targeting accuracy is greater, and the lack of engagement between clients, publishers, and advertisers is not there. So in this chapter, we looked at how third-party data can be enriching for first-party data. We looked at how third-party data platforms and aggregators provide very useful information. It just has to be sorted. Data lakes are always a way to store, process, and display data on a massive scale relatively quickly and inexpensively. And tag management systems are databases stored where they store all the JavaScript tags. We looked at how web analytics captures online information that occurs on a site. How web analytics provides intermediate metrics and useful to gauge the progress of marketing. Comscore and Nielsen, they provide excellent third-party audiences and analytics. Third-party data platforms like Comscore can further extend out by using additional platforms that most students have access to at a university and library. And then the pragmatic advertising is briefly introduced and discussed in this chapter. So go through and look at these questions and see like what you need to review, how you need to focus for the test. So make sure you really understand what third party, first party, second party data is. That is so important. And if you need help, please contact me. We can schedule a Zoom meeting. I look forward to all of that with you all. So if you don't have any questions, I will see you next week.